continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Warner Anderson as Matthew Swain, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, and Mia Farrow as Allison Mackenzie.
The first snowstorm of winter is moving slowly across the state. It has not yet reached the penitentiary where Elliot Carson will face the parole board and learn the pattern of his future.
Bring it, Elliot Carson.
Hello, Dad.
Sit down, Carson.
We've been looking over your record. You've had a good year.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Carson, in the past, when you've appeared before this board, you've talked about a determination to go back to Peyton Place to prove you didn't kill your wife.
Yes, sir.
Do you still feel the same way?
Well, I've had a great deal of indoctrination about paroles, Commissioner. Everything I've read, everything I've been told suggests that that was a very unhealthy state of mind. I've been told that a man who leaves prison should try to bury his past, not relive it.
Well, that doesn't quite answer the question.
Sir?
How do you feel about it? Be honest with us.
I'd like to bury my past.
Can you? Can you go back to Peyton Place to the people who sent you here without bearing grudges, grievances? Well?
Commissioner, I'd be a fool if I thought I could convince you that a man could spend 18 years in prison without having feelings.
What are your feelings, Carson?
I think we all understand each other on this point, Commissioner. I really do.
What about his rehabilitation program, education? He was excused from schooling.
When I came here, I had my master's degree in English literature.
Oh, yes. You worked in the prison library last 2 years.
Reorganized it.
That was a job that needed doing.
I needed a job that needed doing.
Carson, I noticed you didn't participate in the religious program.
I'm not a religious man, Commissioner. I was. Maybe I will be again.
Mr. Swain, I gather you lived a long time in Peyton Place. If Carson should be granted parole and he goes back there, how do you think the town will react?
Well, that's rather a large-sized question.
Peyton Place is a small town, isn't it?
Yes, it's a small town.
And I assume a rather tightly knit community? Surely there'd be some reaction to Carson's return.
Well, I like to think that my fellow citizens will accept the fact that Elliot has paid his debt to society.
You'd like to think so.
I know they will. The town may be small, but the people aren't.
That's asking a great deal of them.
18 years is a long time.
Carson is a murderer. A convicted murderer.
What do you want him to say, Commissioner? That I shouldn't go home? That they'll stone me in the streets?
Carson.
Answer me! What do you want him to say, Commissioner? That I'm a blight on the community? That I'll remind them of what they did to me?
What they did to you.
Sit down, Carson. Sit down.
Sorry.
Isn't that sweet?
I know I'll end up keeping it. This happens every year when the new calendars come out. Charge it to my account, Allison. I won't bother to wait.
Yes, Miss Hawkins. What is wrong with people? How can you get all sticky sentimental over a picture of a puppy and not show a shred of sympathy for another human being?
You meaning the lady that just left?
Miss Harkness. I happened to mention Elliot Carson, and she... Oh.
Well, what did she say?
She's like all the rest. They're so sure he murdered his wife.
What makes you so sure he didn't?
Mother stepped out for a minute.
Well, I noticed her absence.
She went home to look in on Mrs. Anderson.
Is that a dismissal?
Oh, I'm sorry. That must have sounded awful. You know what it's like to be a victim of this town's prejudice?
Well, you can be prejudiced for as well as against.
Well, there's a difference.
Allison, the world is full of people who rush blindly after every cause without waiting to learn something about it. Learn about the facts. That's all I'm telling you to do before you make up your mind.
That sounds like good advice. What are you two talking about?
Well, the rights of the individual. Elliot Carson, specifically.
Honestly, Allison, listen, you're becoming positively obsessed. That's all you ever talk about. Every other word is...
Elliot Carson? Well, there's nothing wrong in saying it, is there? I have to go. I'll be late for afternoon class.
Can I help you on with it?
No, thank you.
Betty, come on, Mother. You must be chilled. Let me get you something warm.
No, don't bother.
Just a cup of coffee.
No.
Well, come in.
Have you heard from Daddy?
He called this morning.
Did you decide anything?
I didn't talk to him. Connie told him I was asleep. Look, Betty, there's nothing to say.
What are you going to do?
Oh, I haven't decided yet. I'll get a room someplace. Daddy can have the house if he wants it.
Alone? And then what? You go back to your old job at the mill?
No.
Oh, you mean Mr. Harrington hasn't asked you to?
He's asked me, Betty. I said no.
Well, does Daddy know about this?
Honey, what difference would it make?
Well, wouldn't it?
Betty, stop looking for an easy answer, honey. Your father's sick. If there were no Leslie Harrington, he'd have to invent one.
But he didn't have to. It's your fault as much as Daddy's.
My fault, his fault. What difference does it make, Betty? My marriage is a failure, and I don't want to argue with you about how it got that way.
At least you had something I don't. Daddy at least tries.
And Rod doesn't. Don't you see, it takes more than just trying.
It helps.
Betty, your father tried. Did that help?
Maybe it was all your fault.
Oh, really? You're suggesting I didn't try. Well, how about you, Betty? You certainly tried with Rod, didn't you?
Yes.
And what happened?
Now, that's enough.
Well, it ought to be. But apparently you don't realize yet that when a thing's wrong, when it goes wrong in every direction, that all the trying in the world won't make it right. Betty, don't you see you'll never be any more than what you are right now? An intruder in the Harrington household.
No.
Betty. Betty! Honey, I didn't want to have to say that.
Every hour on the hour, George Anderson calls. Allison, Captain O'Shaughnessy speaking. What's the news from the front? Oh, well, I've got news for you, Lieutenant Mackenzie. If my wife doesn't call me soon, I'll be sending the troops in.
Hello, Daddy.
Oh, my little princess. Welcome to my castle. Coffee? Caviar, lark's tongues on the glass.
I'll tidy up for you.
You, talk to your mother?
I've seen her.
Oh, over at the Mackenzies.
Yes.
3 little angels wrapped up in cotton batting. Keep an eye on that, Allison. A man can drown in that kind of honey. Oh! What did you talk about?
Don't shout at me, Daddy. You frightened me.
I'm in a jam and you're scared. Oh, boy. I never thought she'd do it. I mean, we've had our days, D days, J days, but I never thought she'd walk out on me.
Please stop that. Daddy, why don't you take Dr. Rossi's advice?
Why? Because I got a bad temper when I drink? Yeah, I've always had that. No head shrinker can fix that, baby.
Do you have to do that?
Yes, I have to do that. But I know how to pay back. I'll fix her. Just like I fixed Leslie Harrington.
Fixed him?
Yeah. Every time he looks at you, every time he has to talk to you. It's better than knocking him down, even.
Because I married Rod. Put that down.
I haven't had that much to drink.
I took your advice against Mother's. She asked for understanding, and I took her side.
You're my baby.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm your baby to be used. You used me to get at Leslie Harrington, and now you want to use me to get at Mother.
They deserve it.
Well, did I?
Oh, princess.
Call me Betty.
Oh, honey bunch. My head aches. Everything's going wrong for me.
Oh, don't do that, Daddy.
Everything's a mess. Mess!
Daddy, I'm in trouble, too.
Well, you just hold on, baby. Don't you give an inch.
What am I going to hold on to, Daddy? Go on, have yourself a drink.
Thanks, I will.
Well, will that solve all the problems? Will that sell any policies? Will that help either of us?
You have been talking, haven't you?
Yes.
Both of you. I can just hear the both of you now.
What are we gonna do about old George?
Well, what did she send you over to do?
I came because I needed you.
You sound just like her.
Well, maybe she needs you, too.
She needs. Everybody needs. Well, what about me? Huh? I spend my time out on the road in crummy hotel rooms, crummy restaurants with crummy strangers.
Oh, now stop it. Now, you've been here for weeks, and everything's gotten worse.
That's it. You stay right in character, Julie. I said, don't tell me what I should do.
You called me Julie.
I love you. Princess, come back. Come back here! Come back!
How goes it?
Mother's in someone else's home. Daddy's the friendly town menace, and that's that.
And it's final.
Till he sees a doctor.
What are you going to do?
We move in with Mother and help her. That's the word we use.
Well?
I wouldn't know what to do.
She needs you, you know.
you say anything to me about meeting someone. Rod, did we ever have a chance?
I suppose. Long time ago.
What am I going to do?
I don't know.
I'm not saying this out of spite to be vicious. I don't want you to feel guilty, but what am I going to do?
Betty? We could get that divorce. Betty, you need someone. That someone isn't me.
Why?
Because what you want is more than help. Or,
What you're saying is it's no good, none of it. Don't be considerate, Rod.
I tried.
Don't try. Everyone's trying.
You brought this on us, you know.
Because I lied to you.
Yes.
What about the first lie, Rod? The one at the pond?
Oh, I meant that.
At the time.
Yes.
Now you want to get rid of me. Would you let me alone now, Rod?
Oh, Betty.
You don't have to talk to me anymore. I've talked enough today to everyone. I just want to think now.
Well, I do have some studying to do.
History and government.
Yeah, history and government.
Goodbye, Rod.
Goodbye.
Connie?
Have I come at a bad time, Mike?
No, not at all. Come in. It's a good time.
Oh, I should have phoned, not just barged in like this.
Nonsense.
The beach road's closed. I had to take a detour.
Yes, I know.
Can I have a drink? I'm still cold.
Of course.
Mike?
Yes?
Just a little sherry. I have to drive home.
Not right away, I hope.
Secrets. They spoil your life and you end up having to confess them anyway. You're never free. And there's no second chance.
Connie. Now you're trembling.
Oh, it's this house. What happened here? She was murdered in this room.
That was 18 years ago. You weren't even here then.
No, I wasn't. I was in New York. Allison. You know when I came in on you two today and I scolded him? You were right. I was too hard on her. I mean, it must have looked that way to you. Because you couldn't know the circumstances. And you do know the circumstances of Allison's birth, but I've never told you about her father. He's alive. That was the second hardest thing I'll ever have to say. The hardest will be telling Allison.
then he has no claim on you, and certainly has no claim on Allison.
He may make one if he comes back.
Is he coming back?
Well, I feel that he is. That's why I had to come here to talk to you. I don't know what he's like now. Elliot Carson is Allison's father.
Betty? Hello. Hello, Allison. Do you mind? How's school? Fine. How is, What, my marriage? My parents' marriage? I didn't know there was anything left to tell. I thought everybody knew everything. I wasn't trying to pry. Allison, do I look like I wanted company? You looked lonely. Do you remember the last time I waited here for the bus with you? I remember. Do you remember I told you I didn't want you to go? And now? And now I still don't. Neither do I. You know, I have a mother and a father and a husband. 3 people who are supposed to care about me. So I went to them and, it seems that now I have no one. Betty. Oh, Allison. Of all the people in the world, not you. I don't want your sympathy, and it only makes it worse. Would you write to me? Why? Would you? No. I see. Do you, Allison? I think I do. Allison, don't tell anyone you saw me go. Just let me get away from them. Allison, please.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
I want to know where Betty is.
Why?
I did marry her.
If you'll let this come between us.
It has come between us.
But his name was Elliot Carson then, and it's Elliot Carson now. And he is Allison's father. I'm trying to face the facts with you.
I know why Betty ran away. But let me tell you something. If anything happens to her, I'll kill you.